An older servant approaches Ein and calmly tells him that it is almost time for dinner. Ein looks up, slightly surprised, as if he lost track of time. Surrounded by a huge pile of books, he quickly apologizes, realizing he got too absorbed in studying. The stacks of books around him show just how much effort he has been putting in on his own. The old servant looks at Ein and calmly praises him, saying that not only does he train every day, but he also puts great effort into studying. To him, this is something truly admirable. He adds that even becoming a general is not just a distant dream for Ein. In fact, everyone in the mansion believes that Ein could easily become a scholar if he chose that path. Hearing this, Ein listens quietly, then responds with a simple thank you, showing his appreciation for the kind words. After hearing the suggestion, Ein agrees and leaves the room, deciding to visit his mother before dinner. He walks through the hallway, then stops in front of her door and knocks. As he calls out to her, she responds from inside, telling him to come in. Ein smiles slightly and opens the door, preparing himself as he steps inside. Ein steps into the room and is greeted by a gentle voice. Sitting calmly before him is a beautiful woman with a warm smile. She welcomes him softly, calling his name. Ein looks at her with a relaxed expression, recognizing her immediately. She is his mother, Olivia. Ein walks closer to Olivia, feeling at ease in her presence. To him, she feels less like a strict parent and more like an older sister, especially since he still carries memories from his previous life. Olivia gently hands him something and tells him that it just arrived, asking if he's been looking forward to it. Then, as if remembering something, she adds that she has something important to give him. Curious, Ein takes it and looks down. It is a status card. As he reads it, his eyes focus on the details. It shows his name, Ein Roundheart, along with his stats like stamina, attack power, agility, magic power, and defense. Below that, his skills are listed, including Toxin Decomposition EX and another ability related to training. For a moment, Ein quietly studies the card, realizing that this is a clear measure of his current strength in this world. Ein looks at his status card and hesitates, unsure if his stats are actually good or not. He quietly admits this, still trying to understand where he stands. Olivia smiles warmly beside him, clearly happy to see his reaction. Ein quickly thanks her, holding the card more carefully now. As they sit together, Olivia explains that for a normal 5-year-old child, having a stamina of 10 is already standard. Hearing that, Ein starts to realize that his own numbers are far higher than average. She then points out another skill on the card, Gift of Training, explaining that it helps strengthen his body against pain and illness, while also reducing fatigue. Ein listens closely and looks back at his card, taking a moment to process everything. This time, his expression softens slightly as he admits to himself that his status is not bad at all. Olivia gently places her hand near her chest and tells Ein that she understands his efforts better than anyone. She reassures him that his status card is proof that he has been doing his best all this time. Hearing this, Ein looks at her quietly, touched by her words. After a moment, Olivia suddenly remembers something. She mentions that she has an errand from Ein's grandmother and suggests that they go out together after, since it has been a while. Ein is surprised by this and wonders what it could be, especially when he hears that it involves choosing tea from a merchant. He finds it unusual that his mother would personally handle something like that instead of serve it. As he thinks about it, Ein starts to feel that there might be more meaning behind it, but for now, he simply listens, still slightly confused by the situation. Ein lowers his head, clenching his fist as guilt starts to build inside him. He blames himself, thinking that Olivia has to go through all this because he is not good enough as the eldest son. Seeing this, Olivia gently reaches out and holds his hand, stopping him from sinking deeper into those thoughts. She calls his name softly, bringing his attention back to her. With a warm smile, she tells him that he is her wonderful knight. Then she asks if he would accompany her, speaking in a gentle and caring tone. Hearing this, Ein looks at her, surprised, his earlier thoughts beginning to fade as he takes in her words. Ein's expression brightens immediately. Without hesitation, he happily agrees and asks to go with Olivia, clearly excited. Soon after, The two of them arrive at a shop. Olivia politely tells the merchant that she has come to choose tea, and the man quickly recognizes her, responding with respect. As they sit and look through the items, Ein quietly observes everything around him. Different jars and goods are displayed in front of them. Then something catches his attention. His eyes focus on a small item among the goods, and he pauses. Looking at it closely, Ein wonders if what he is seeing is actually a magic stone. Ein picks up the small magic stone and listens as the merchant explains it. Magic stones usually come from monsters and can hold strong power, but this one is low quality and often used for simple tools. Hearing that, Ein politely asks to take a closer look, and the merchant allows it. As soon as he holds it, Ein notices something strange. The stone has a faint, sweet smell, almost like honey. Curious, he stares at it, wondering if it is really just a normal magic stone. Without thinking too much, he brings it closer and lightly licks it. For a moment, everything goes still. Then Ein's eyes widen in shock as he realizes it actually tastes sweet. The sensation spreads instantly, and something inside him reacts. Energy begins to move, and his body responds in a way he does not expect. Standing there, holding the stone, Ein is left stunned, realizing that this might be connected to his ability in a way he never imagined. Ein hesitates for a moment after licking the magic stone, feeling a bit guilty as he holds it. He quietly asks if he can buy it, trying to act normal. Olivia notices something is off and asks if he is all right, but Ein quickly denies it, not wanting to draw attention. Seeing his interest, the merchant smiles and decides to give the magic stone to Ein as a gift. After thanking him, Ein leaves the shop with Olivia, still thinking about what just happened. As he looks at the stone again, he suddenly notices that its yellow color has completely disappeared. The next day, Ein returns to training like usual. He faces the same iron dummy, but this time something feels different. As he grips his sword, a strange energy begins to rise inside him. His body feels lighter, stronger, as if power is flowing through him. Without hesitation, Ein swings. This time, the result is completely different. His strike cuts through the iron dummy with ease, splitting it apart. Ein stands there in silence, staring at what he just did, realizing that something inside him has clearly changed. A nearby guard freezes in shock, struggling to speak as he looks at the result. In front of them, the iron armor dummy has been completely split apart. Ein stands still, staring at it, unable to fully understand what just happened. The others quickly realize it too. Ein has just slashed through iron armor, using only a wooden sword. For a moment, the area falls silent. Then his status appears in his mind again. His numbers have increased, his strength clearly rising beyond what it was before. As Ein looks at his own hands, one thought begins to form. Something about him has definitely changed. The carriage rolls forward, its wheels echoing softly along the stone road. Inside, Olivia sits with a tense expression, clearly holding back her frustration. Ein watches her carefully, trying to calm her, but whatever happened earlier still weighs heavily on her mind. Soon they arrive. Standing before them is a grand estate, home of the kingdom's only archduke. Logas gives his orders calmly, splitting their group to handle formal greetings. As they approach, a noble lady greets them with elegance, already expecting their arrival. Olivia regains her composure, her voice returning to its usual grace. "Let's go on." And with that, they step forward into a meeting that feels far more important than it seems. Olivia's expression tightens as she hears the explanation. Ein isn't allowed to attend. The servant apologizes repeatedly, explaining that each family may only bring one child, and since Grint is already inside, there's no place for Ein. The realization settles in quickly. Ein understands without protest. This was arranged so Grint could participate. Olivia looks troubled, clearly wanting to argue, but she restrains herself. Causing a scene here would only make things worse. Sensing the tension, Ein forces a small, calm smile and shrugs it off, saying he wasn't that interested in the party anyway. Instead, he suggests he'll just take a walk. Leaving them behind, he steps out onto the balcony where a beautiful garden stretches before him. The scenery is peaceful, almost distracting, and he quietly admires it, finding comfort in the moment. Behind him, the servant bows deeply, thanking Ein for his suggestion and promising to inform the Archduke immediately. Ein simply smiles, calm and unbothered, as if the situation doesn't trouble him at all. Stepping outside, he admires the Archduke's vast garden, casually praising its beauty and comparing the blooming flowers to his mother. When Olivia asks if he's truly okay with missing the party, Ein reassures her with a gentle yes, insisting he'd rather spend time here surrounded by something peaceful. He even takes her hand, smiling brightly, saying he'd be happier enjoying the flowers than attending the event. Touched by his kindness and maturity, Olivia pulls him into a warm embrace, half joking that she'd hug him even tighter if they weren't guests. The moment softens her earlier frustration, and she looks at him with renewed affection. Just then, a servant rushes over, slightly out of breath, explaining that the Archduke has granted them permission to stroll through the garden, with a guide to accompany them. Olivia accepts gracefully, thanking him, while Ein looks up with quiet curiosity. And just like that, what began as rejection turns into a small, peaceful moment, one that brings them closer together. A gentle voice calls out, stopping Ein in his tracks. A young noble girl approaches with elegance, introducing herself while asking if he is the eldest son of the Roundheart house. As the sun begins to set, the garden glows beautifully, and Ein casually shares how even more impressive the inner court is, smiling as he admires the scenery. Olivia watches him closely, while the girl listens in silence, observing him with quiet curiosity. Then, she brings up the Roundheart family, asking if he's heard the rumors. In the grand hall, whispers spread among the nobles that the eldest son is arrogant and unfit, while the younger one, blessed with the rare holy knight skill, is destined to inherit everything. Some even say the future of the kingdom is secured because the successor has already been decided. But as the girl looks at Ein now, calm, kind, and sincere, those rumors begin to feel hollow. Watching him from behind as he smiles peacefully in the garden, she softly dismisses the gossip in her heart. Because to her, Ein is nothing like the rumors. He's the most gentlemanly person she's met today. Ein's eyes light up as he looks at the girl beside him, innocently complimenting her beauty, which catches her completely off guard. Flustered, she tries to compose herself while Ein excitedly points out the glowing blue flowers in the garden. He admires them with pure curiosity, unaware of how rare and dangerous they actually are. The girl quickly explains that the flower is called a blue fire rose, a delicate plant that only blooms under perfect conditions and is extremely difficult to cultivate. Despite its beauty, she warns him to be careful. The rose's thorns contain a lethal poison, said to be powerful enough to kill countless people. As she continues, she explains that the toxin causes a burning sensation throughout the body, which is why it earned the name blue fire. Ein listens with interest, even joking lightly about the name, while Olivia calmly adds that the flower isn't just dangerous, it can also be turned into something valuable. In fact, she explains that the blue fire rose can be transformed into a real jewel, not an artificial one, making it both beautiful and highly prized. Surrounded by the glowing flowers, the moment feels almost magical, where danger and beauty exist side by side. And Ein, once again, faces something far more intriguing than the party he missed. Klon continues her explanation, revealing that if the deadly poison within the blue fire rose is successfully extracted, the flower will naturally transform into a jewel. She explains that the poison itself possesses a rare property. It can crystallize substances, which is what allows the flower to become something so extraordinary. According to legend, the finished gem is called the star crystal, a jewel said to be one of the most beautiful in existence. It resembles a deep night sky, with tiny sparkling specks that shine like stars, giving it an almost magical, celestial appearance. However, Klon makes it clear that creating such a jewel is no simple task. Completely draining the poison is extremely difficult and requires an immense amount of resources. The cost alone is overwhelming, so much that it could equal nearly half a year's worth of a territory's taxes. Because of this, the star crystal is incredibly rare, with only 2 known to exist in the entire Heim Kingdom. Hearing this, Ein is left stunned, realizing that the beautiful flower before him holds both deadly danger and unimaginable value far beyond what he ever expected. As Klon explains the true nature of the blue fire rose, Ein begins to connect everything with his own ability. She mentions that his skill, Toxin Decomposition EX, has the power to neutralize any poison or bacteria, making it uniquely suited for something as dangerous as the flower's lethal toxins. The realization hits him hard. This isn't just coincidence. This is something only he can do. Yet there's a catch. Ein recalls that using his skill too much causes side effects like headaches and extreme fatigue, making him hesitate despite the opportunity in front of him. While others around him celebrate and laugh, unaware of the weight of the moment, Ein quietly wrestles with his thoughts. No, he mutters to himself, conflicted. But deep down, he knows this might be his role, to use this power here and now. Gathering his resolve, he steadies himself, thinking that as long as he doesn't collapse from overuse, he should be able to manage. With a serious expression, he turns to her and asks, "Klon-sama, would you like to see a star crystal?" Klon is caught off guard, surprised by his sudden determination. She admits that seeing a real star crystal has always been one of her dreams. And in that moment, Ein makes his decision. He will take the risk, even if it pushes his limits, because this might be the one chance to turn something deadly into something truly extraordinary. Ein steels his resolve, telling himself that even someone like him must have something he can do. With that quiet determination, he reaches out toward the blue fire rose, gently plucking it despite the danger. Olivia and Klon immediately panic, shouting for him to stop, their voices filled with fear as they rush toward him. But it's already too late. The moment Ein makes contact, his body is suddenly overwhelmed, and his consciousness is pulled into a strange inner world. Inside, it feels as though he's drifting weightlessly through a flowing current, surrounded by swirling energy. Instead of pain, however, what he experiences is something entirely unexpected, refreshing, almost like drinking a cool soda with a hint of mint. He realizes that this sensation is the effect of his Toxin Decomposition EX skill activating, breaking down the deadly poison within the flower. As the energy continues to flow through him, Ein begins to understand that this is what toxin detoxification truly feels like. Back in reality, Ein regains awareness, still holding the flower, confused but relieved. He expected the usual backlash, the headaches and exhaustion that normally come with using his skill, but this time it doesn't come. As he lies there catching his breath, he questions why there's no drawback like before. And in that moment, he starts to realize that something about this situation is different. Olivia and Klon panic instantly, shouting for him not to touch it, their voices filled with fear as they rush toward him. But Ein doesn't stop. "I can do this," he declares inwardly, trusting in his ability. As the poison surges, his skill activates at full force. "My skill is the strongest if I'm against poison. It's just like the goddess told me." In the next moment, a blinding light erupts from his body, radiating outward and flooding the entire garden. The energy swirls violently, yet beautifully, as the deadly toxins are completely broken down and purified. Olivia shields Klon from the overwhelming force, both of them watching in disbelief as something impossible unfolds before their eyes. Then, just as suddenly as it began, the light fades. In Ein's hands, the once lethal blue fire rose has transformed. Its danger gone, its essence crystallized into something pure. He looks down, slightly dazed, brushing his forehead as if trying to process what just happened. Resting gently in his palm is the result of his power, a radiant, flawless jewel. A star crystal. Ein smiles softly, almost in disbelief himself, as the shimmering crystal glows faintly in his hands. Proof that even he, someone who once doubted his worth, could create something truly extraordinary. Klon's eyes tremble in shock, her voice shaking as she struggles to process what she just witnessed. She had never seen anything like it before. Someone using a skill so recklessly, yet achieving something miraculous. Meanwhile, Ein lowers himself to one knee, gently holding the newly formed crystal in his hands. His expression is calm, almost humble, as if what he did wasn't something extraordinary at all. "I'm sorry to have surprised you," he says softly, "but this is my skill." Still stunned, Klon watches as he carefully lifts the shimmering star crystal toward her. Her heart pounds as he continues, his voice steady despite the lingering tension. "I've brought you the thing you've dreamed of, Klon-sama." He extends his hand fully now, offering the radiant crystal with sincerity. "Would you please accept it?" For a moment, everything goes silent. Klon can only stare, unable to immediately respond, her mind overwhelmed by both the miracle before her and the boy kneeling in front of her. Off to the side, Olivia covers her mouth in disbelief, equally stunned by Ein's actions. But inside Ein's head, a completely different storm brews. "Wait, what did I just say?" He panics internally. "I got carried away by the mood of the garden and said something so corny." His face tightens in embarrassment as doubt creeps in. Klon's hands slowly rise to her chest, her face flushing deeply as her emotions finally catch up with her. Words fail her. Only a soft, breathless sound escapes her lips. She isn't laughing. She's completely overwhelmed. Ein smiles gently, trying to ease the tension as Klon hesitates in front of him, her voice trembling. She looks down at the glowing crystal in his hands, still unable to fully believe what's happening. "Hey, are you really giving it to me?" she asks softly, her fingers clutching near her chest. Ein scratches his cheek awkwardly, flustered but sincere. "Oh, of course. I'd be troubled if you didn't accept it." Her heart pounds louder, echoing in her ears as she slowly reaches out. For a brief moment, both of them freeze. Then, with a quiet breath, Klon finally nods. "Yes." Carefully, she accepts the star crystal from his hands. As the light of the garden surrounds her, Klon's expression melts into pure happiness. She holds the crystal close, her smile radiant under the soft glow of the evening sky. "I will accept it," she says, her voice now steady, filled with gratitude. The roses shimmer around her, reflecting the beauty of the moment as petals drift through the air. Meanwhile, Ein turns back toward Klon with a slightly shy smile. "Klon-sama, would you mind if I take another one for my mother?" he asks politely. Klon, still holding the first crystal close, nods warmly. "Why, yeah, I don't mind." Behind her, Olivia clasps her hands together in amazement, her eyes sparkling. "Ein, you're so cool," she exclaims, clearly overwhelmed. Ein, however, is already moving again, still caught up in the momentum of his emotions. He quickly forms another crystal and rushes forward, kneeling once more. "Here, mother, please accept my love for you," he says earnestly. And just like that, under the glowing roses and fading sunlight, what began as an impossible miracle turns into a quiet, heartfelt exchange, one that leaves everyone present speechless in its warmth. Ein smiles brightly, his usual gentle expression returning as he speaks. "Klon-sama, thank you very much for today," he says sincerely, though he quickly corrects himself, calling her simply Klon. His tone softens, more natural now. Nearby, Klon explains politely that she would have loved to talk longer, but she has a speech to give, assuring him not to worry since she truly enjoyed their time together. But before the moment can end quietly, Klon suddenly steps forward, her face flushed with emotion and determination. She points straight at him, her voice firm. "You don't have to talk politely to me anymore. I'll be mad if you do from now on. Is that clear, Ein?" Caught off guard, Ein stiffens for a second before letting out an awkward smile, scratching his cheek. "I understand, Klon," he replies, trying to adjust. The tension breaks into a softer, almost playful atmosphere between them. Meanwhile, Olivia notices something else entirely. Glancing around, she realizes the Earl hasn't appeared. Even though the party is already ending, he seems to have left early for another engagement. As she asks the staff, Her expression subtly shifts, confusion, then something deeper. Without even saying a word to me, Ein watches her silently, sensing the change. A thought creeps into his mind, heavy and painful. Am I that worthless in father's eyes? His gaze drops, his chest tightening with a quiet, familiar ache. Noticing his expression, Olivia steps closer and gently places her hands on his shoulders. Hey, Ein. She begins softly, her voice filled with concern. She hesitates, searching his face. Do you feel the same? Like your father? Ein closes his eyes for a moment before answering honestly. I'm grateful to him for raising me, but I can't forgive his attitude towards mother. His voice is calm, but there's a quiet resolve beneath it. Frankly, I can't say that I like him. For a brief second, silence hangs in the air. Then Olivia's expression softens completely, her eyes warming as she smiles. That's good to hear, she says gently, her hands clasping together in relief and happiness. Olivia suddenly takes Ein's hand, her grip gentle but firm as she pulls him along. Let's go, she says with a soft smile, her voice carrying a quiet determination. Ein stumbles slightly, caught off guard by her sudden action. Jigo? Where to? He asks, eyes wide with confusion as he tries to keep up. She pauses just enough to glance back at him, her expression tender yet resolute. I can't bear to see you experiencing such harsh things like this anymore, she admits softly. There's a warmth in her voice, but also a hidden pain, like she's made a decision long before this moment. Still holding his hand, Olivia leads him forward beneath the night sky, the castle walls towering beside them as moonlight bathes the path in silver. An looks up at her, puzzled, trying to understand what she truly means. To the most beautiful place there is, she says, her voice almost like a whisper carried by the night breeze. Ein blinks, even more confused now. Our fatherland? The words echo in his mind as he struggles to grasp her meaning. And as the two of them walk into the quiet night, hand in hand, a question lingers. What exactly did Olivia mean?